Hey guys, so I've found what I think is the silver bullet. This is the argument that can defeat essentially any religion that has a holy book of some kind. So this is Christianity, Judaism, Islam, you know, pick one, right? So what it boils down to is it's a hugely detailed and difficult, laborious process to take a book written in one language and convert it to another, because there's no one-to-one ratio, right? You can't just say, hey, this word means this. Typically there's a lot of gray areas. There's words that mean multiple things, and so it's very difficult to translate between languages. But not just languages, but cultures, different understandings of a particular concept. It's very, very challenging. But it's not just that, it's the logistics of getting the book to another continent and getting the people to accept that book. Why would they buy this story being sold by this guy that just showed up on a boat trying to push some new concept on them? They're like, our original beliefs are just fine, thank you very much. So not just this difficulty of getting that message out, but also the difficulty of the recipient processing it accurately, being willing to take on that task of spreading the message. And so any God, any deity that has full knowledge of the entire planet, can see every human on the planet, they are going to understand this problem immediately. Like, hey, we've got people in Peru, we've got people in the Southeast Pacific, all these various tribes scattered across the Asian continent. It's going to be this massive task to try and get a book communicated. A God that has all power is not going to drop a book into the middle of Palestine and say, okay, you guys need to get it across the rest of the planet and all these far distant tribes and whatnot. The God would just talk to everybody, where they're at that time point, or because it's such a flawed plan to try and transmit this book across all the different parts of the globe. We can see the problems with that because this is hindsight, right? We're many thousands of years later, and we're just like, hey, a few thousand years later, and we're just like, there's multiple subsects of all these different religions. There's some areas where the religion went through and now it's already died out again and people just rejected it. So we've seen translation problems, we've seen problems copying the text, we've seen problems with, again, printing and spreading these texts. That it's not just the technical aspects, it's the ethical aspects. So we have to trust humans to not try and put their own spin on it, not to try and put their own biases into the process. Yeah, it doesn't work. There's no God that actually sees everyone and has full wisdom and knowledge is going to use this method. They will not do it. It would be so incompetent that we would almost consider it to be evil. And it's not just that, though. That's still only one half of the problem, the logistics and distribution. The other half of it is you're relying on the people receiving the message, getting these books, hearing the message from the missionaries and all that, to have the intellect and the maturity to understand the message. There's something like 14-15% of the adult population is somewhere between average intelligence and handicapped. There's a percentage of people that are just barely functional, right? And you're expecting them to to know what's correct, to choose between Islam or Judaism or Christianity, Mormonism, JWs, all these different sects, and like determine which one is correct. And there are some really intelligent people that I know that have multiple languages. They understand the original Greek or the Hebrew, and they're diving into the historicity of all these books, and they are swamped trying to comprehend it and trying to get the best possible interpretation of these books. Anybody average IQ, no college education, and everybody below that, they're screwed. They're out of luck. So religion fails for these reasons that I've just laid out. Now, you have a religion that does not have a holy book. You have a theology / worldview that is more deistic, and hey, there's maybe multiple gods, or the gods created the universe and then they just left everybody alone and they don't intervene in human affairs. It's a different argument. It doesn't apply to you. But for the people that think God is trying to intervene, God is trying to communicate and using text, this completely destroys it. So I'm welcome to hearing any comments and suggestions. But thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.